Hi, welcome back to houseimprovements.com. I'm Shannon, and we're just continuing on with our deck series here. Today we're going to look at building and installing the railing. And this particular customer, we are still using pressure treated lumber for part of the railing, for the two rails and the top rail. And then we're using these painted aluminum spindles. And these spindles are pretty common. You can buy them at just about any big box store. Basically all it is I think it's about 3/4 inch tube of aluminum. It's all powder coated, and I'm also using these clips that are mounted to these two rails, and they fit right into the end of the spindle. So it's a pretty simple system. Goes up really fast. Before we get started on it though, I'll just kind of point out a few things with some of this existing stuff that I already finished. So to get our components, what I did for this rail here and this piece right here, I just ripped a 2x6 right in half. So it was a pressure treated 2x6, ripped it in half, and got those two pieces. And then of course the cut sides, which would be down here and up on the top of that one, was treated because it's exposed to the weather now. Also, you'll notice I've got a space here. Just kind of decide what you want for a space. In our area of the country, shoveling off the deck in the winter sort of thing with snow, it's kind of nice to have a little bit of room to kind of push a light snow underneath there. So I stayed up, I believe it was about 2.5 inches. There's no real set rule there, other than one major building code rule is you don't want any more than 4 inches of space in between these spindles, or in here, or between a post that's against a wall or anything like that. So for our case, what I did to make sure I was under the 4 inches, I spaced these out at 4 inches. So by the time you get half the thickness of each spindle in there, it's less than 4 inches in between here. Other code rules, and again, just check with your local authorities, but generally height from top of deck to top of rail, anywhere between 36 to 42 inches. To be quite honest, I don't think there's really a maximum height, but no lower than 36 inches in most areas. So that's another one. Those are the main ones that I can think of right now. We won't be dealing with installing the posts in this video. To see how those were installed, just go to our channel and look up the decking video. Because before we did the decking and the border, we put all the posts on, so that'll be all explained there. And as well, there will be some stairs going on this deck, and until they're on, I'm not going to bother with the handrail or anything, so you can look for the handrail going down the stairs and the spindles and everything on the stair video. So again, just go to our YouTube channel, check that out, and you can see all the videos there. So anyways, I think from this point, we're just going to move over to a section that I don't have completed and show you what I did. Okay, so we've come over here to a section that I haven't completed yet. And really the first process, like I said, I split these 2x6 in half to get these two pieces to the top and bottom rail. Then to get their length, I can use my digital measuring tool. I just put it tight against the post, aim it over there, I get my measurement. I did the same thing approximately in the area where the top rail is, just because if your posts aren't 100% plumb, they could be a little bit off and need to be cut different lengths. All of mine were basically within an eighth of an inch. You can see this one here. If I flush this end up, well, this isn't even an eighth of an inch, but I think the worst one was close to an eighth, so don't get too worried about that. Just as long as they're really close to plumb, you'll be fine. Get your measurements, cut the pieces off. I'm just going to turn that off. And remember to put your preservative on the cut edge. Now if you want, you can sand the bottoms or the cut edges or round this edge off or whatever. For this project I didn't. I like the look of that sharp clean cut on the bottom. Okay, so the next step is flush an end up here. And as long as you don't have too much of a difference, you know, an eighth of an inch, you aren't going to notice if the spindles are out that little bit. And there's a couple different ways you can do this. What I found worked best for this deck and the spacing of the posts I had is I found the center, and that's where my one of my spindles was, and then I measured out my 4 inches each way from that. You could find your center and then go 2 inches each way of that if it works out nicer for your space there. You can see on this one, ended up with just a nice space at the end, and even some of the, you know, because your posts aren't exactly all the same distance apart, it just kind of worked out pretty nicely doing it the way I've started out. So that's that. Just talking about the spacings of the posts, and I don't think I mentioned it in the other video. Basically, I tried to keep under 6 feet on the space of my posts. It makes for a really solid railing. The posts are really solid, and I just find it's a better situation. Some people will go, you know, 8 feet apart and try to save a post or two on the deck, but you're going to end up with some problems later on down the road, in my opinion. Okay, so we'll just measure the length that we've got for here, and divide that in half is 27.5. So I'm going to mark my right in the center distance this way, and center on the width of the wood there as well on both of them. If you want to double check, you know, in case you're not sure of your math, you can always measure back the other way when you're going to center. Actually, I am off a little bit. I'm going to go 27 5/8. So that's one way of double checking when you're just measuring to the middle of something. Just measure from both ends if it's going to be equal. Okay, and then all I do is line up my tape to that center mark that I've got, and I'm going back 4 inches every time. I'm just basically putting a pencil point kind of mark on there, like so. I'll do this one while I'm here. I've also got my tape lined up as close as I kind of can eyeball it to the center of the thickness of those rails as well. Okay, so I've got those all on there. Just have a look and see if you are in the center. If not, just you know, go back and correct any that look like they're a little bit out. Or you can measure each one, whatever you decide you want to do. Those all look pretty good. Next step is installing these anchors, or these clips, I guess they are, basically studs, for the spindles, and this is just a really simple system. There are other styles, and even with these spindles that I've got here, you could drill whatever the diameter of those is. I think it's 3/4. You could drill a series of 3/4 inch holes, you know, 1/2 an inch deep or whatever in every one of these boards, but that is just very time consuming. I think you can even actually buy some of this rail all pre-made that is drilled, so you could go that route. I elected to use these clips. They actually work very well, and they come with the proper screws and everything for ACQ decking, so they won't corrode. So I'm just going to pop all these in. Just the only thing I found is just to be careful not to over tighten them. I haven't broke one yet, but I think you probably could if you really cranked it up. Okay, so we've got all of those little doohickeys on there. I'm just going to move those out of the way. I made up some spacer blocks that I was just setting the rails on to keep my space consistent up off the deck. I have my bottom piece marked. That's this one. I'll pre-start some angled toenails or toe screws into here. So to do this part, this is to do the actual attachment to the post. So I'm going to start back, I don't know what that is, maybe 1.25 inches, and go on a pretty good angle. I'm going to put 2 in each end. I'm just starting them this way. It's just easier when it's laying flat like that. I'm using, these are just the 3-inch same decking screws, the ACQ screws that I use to put the the deck planks down. Oops. So just get it in here. Like so. In my case, I'm basically just centering all of this up. You can put it wherever you want. You can put it out flush, you can put it in, whatever you decide to do. There's no real set rule to that. Like I said, so I'm just centering it up. I found it basically at 1 inch from the exterior. Drive these screws home. This little bit of wood that comes out and around there, just take your finger and push it back flush. It kind of looks after it. I mean, if you really wanted to get fancy, I guess you could use a pocket hole jig and do all these, but I don't think it's really necessary. Okay, so that's that one. Now I can stand all my spindles on there, and I've just got some close by handy here, and they just simply push onto those. There's some little fins on there as the post or the spindle gets on further, it just kind of wedges itself on there. And you can get these, there's rectangular ones. Actually, they're either rectangular or square, I can't remember. These ones are round, obviously. So I'm just pushing them on there and all the way down. A couple more. This is a very easy DIY project that you can save a few bucks with and do it yourself. This whole deck, really. Now, I took my spacer blocks out. I put one in the middle because when I get this top rail all on there, I found that I've just got to bang this down a little bit to tighten everything up with a block. And I was getting a little bit of bouncing there in the middle, and they wouldn't tighten up. So I found if I put that spacer under there, it helped me out. So this part can be a little tricky, but it's not even that bad. Just getting these all lined up and started on here. First couple I did, I actually laid the parts out on the deck, like on the surface, laying flat, and put it all together. It was easier to get going, but then to try to move it around, it just wanted to come apart. I guess, you know, if you wrapped a strap around it or something, it'd be all right. But then I tried it this way the one time, and it seemed to work just as good. So it definitely helps if your top rail fits tight. Kind of helps hold it up there so it isn't falling out of there every time you try to move something around. So just work your way along from one end, whatever it takes to get them in there. Oops. Okay, so I got them all started. I'll just tap that into where it's approximately centered. Knock those down a bit. And I'm just using a block of wood to smash that down. Just tightens everything up nicely. And then I'm going to come around, take this out, come around and come up top. So once I come up top here, same as I did before, whatever you decided to do as far as your space for this top rail or bottom rail, you do it the same on the top one. And I don't know if the camera wants to maybe come in just a little closer to see. So now, just to have the least amount of screws exposed as I can, I did my angled toe screw from up top here because this will get covered with the handrail. Just like that. Do the same thing on this side. like so. Now to cap this off, I'm just putting a little bit of PL here on the post just to help glue that, keep those from being kind of tippy after, like that. My handrail piece is right here, slip it into position. Okay, just want to, it's the same width as my post, so I just want to flush it up without dropping everything. Just flush it up to the post. Same screws as I've been using. These number 8 3-inchers. And I'm just putting this, sorry, actually I was using bigger screws. Just give me a sec. Okay, and then once you've got it in place, to fasten it in, you're just going in the center in my case because the other piece is under there. I went to a little bigger screw. I think these are a number 10 3.5-inch ACQ deck screw. So I'll do the same thing at the other end. Coming in, I don't know, coming in about 4 inches or so. And then I'm going to come out over about 5 spaces. From the other ones. Okay, and just put those in. Just put them slightly countersunk. They don't have to be drove home or whatever. But just so they're down. We get a nice solid railing. Now this customer is going to be putting little solar caps on the posts. That's why we left them up just a little bit higher. You can put wooden posts on, or wooden caps, metal caps, whatever. There's all kinds of choices. You could have your post cut off flush, and what I've done before is make this top rail a 2x6 and just run it right through solid, so the top of the post isn't even seen. So I guess that's the main thing. Get all your posts cut off ahead of time to the right height. I've got one post over on this side, and I just maybe will do a bit of a demonstration because it's up against the house on exactly how to cut that. All these other ones are pretty basic. This one I didn't even have to cut, but really all you do is figure out your elevation off the deck, mark it on 3 sides, and then just take a skill saw, cut it from 2 sides on a 4x4 skill saw, circular saw, cut right through it so the piece will fall off. If your top's going to be seen, then you might want to sand it flat or whatever, but in most cases somebody's putting something on here, so it doesn't have to usually be perfect. So we'll just get reset up and I'll show you how to deal with that one up against the house, since you can't get at it with the saw from both sides. Okay, so what I did is I measured up from the deck the elevation that I wanted, and I did it obviously before this was in the way, but just used a square to get 2 sides marked. And you can notice I've got the handrail off. You should do it before you put any of this stuff in the way, but I kind of forgot. So anyways, the top handrail's off just so I can see what I'm doing here. So then just make one cut here on this side, and then we'll have to use a reciprocating saw to cut the rest of it. But I like to use the circ saw for as much of the cut as I can because it gets you started nice and straight. Okay, so we've got basically a nice guide there now. Now I can use the reciprocating saw, just slide it right in there. It's really binding. Okay, so we've got our post cut off. And now this one will be all the same height as all the rest of them as well. All right, there's our video on installing the deck railing, and it goes right along with all the other videos we've shot doing this deck. So if you want to check any of them out, if you happen to have not seen them yet, you can go to our YouTube channel and search through there. We've got lots. We've got over 100 videos. You can check them all out on YouTube there. Also, we've got our website at house-improvements.com, and there we've got lots of articles and different subjects there you can read about. Or our main thing on the website is the forum. It's very popular. So if you have any questions or problems or comments, you can just go to the forum there and post it up. Thanks for watching.